All right. I see the microphone moving. This is honestly our third try at this, but hey, look, three times a charm. I am Nug the narrator. This is That's My Take podcast. Thank you and welcome. If you like any other content, please like, subscribe, share, comment even. Speaking of comments, I was actually given a critique saying that I was doing a lot of ducking and y'all couldn't see my handsome unshaved face. So I got my mic propped up a little bit more. And at the same time, I'm still comfortable duck. So other than me looking at my teleprompter that's to my left, I will be engaging and looking at my audience. Again, thank y'all for the views and the subs. Before we get started, let's do a little housekeeping. Last show I got some things mixed up. Squatting and swatting are two separate things, and swatting is when people live in somebody's house that's not their house. The house is usually vacant, and they living in the house for free. That's squatting with a SQ, squatting. Now, swatting, SW, is when people call the police on people, trying to get the police to come by people's house because somebody is supposedly in danger, but they not, and it's all a hoax. I got that mixed up. I wanted to clear that up. I'm far from perfect. I mean, hey, I'm human. Um, I wanted to clear up something else or discuss, do some other type of promoting or something. Mm, I can't think, but this podcast and every podcast is brought to you by the fam that's forever about making money, forever amongst made men. Without them, there would be no me. Without me, well, I don't know. It might be them, but I'm telling you right now, I is them and they is I. Oh, yeah, I know what I wanted to tell y'all. I have been drinking, not a lot, but hey, 2 shots of tequila. We're gonna take it show. We're gonna take it slow this show. And we're gonna do our segments. We're gonna have a good time. And again, I'm gonna stay engaged and hopefully add a little value and entertainment. So without further ado, in a few tries, let's get into this. World news. Frost quakes were felt around Chicago this week. Here's what scientists do and don't know about this seismic phenomenon. A cold weather phenomenon known as frost quakes, which makes loud booming or popping sounds and unleash small earthquake like tremors, was felt around Chicago during this week's bout of below zero temperatures. Illinois State climatologist Trent Ford said that there was no formal reporting system for frost quakes, which occurred after a sudden freezing of the ground, but he had seen and heard reports of this phenomenon on social media. He's also experienced some frost quakes, officially known as cryoseisms, in the past. And I quote, it sort of sounds like somebody's either snapping a very large branch off a tree or maybe popping very large bubble wrap. It's not quite loud as gunfire, but it's sort of like that, and it can be that loud, end quote, Ford said. The shaking is less common, he added. Those can be like small earthquakes, not nearly to the extent of where pictures fall off the wall, though. Frost quakes can be unsettling, especially if people aren't aware of them, but they don't pose any real danger. Ford added, in extreme cases, they can cause damage to roads, building foundations, but that's rare. The phenomenon isn't unique to the U.S. Midwest. Frost quakes have been seen and reported in New England, Canada, and parts of Scandinavia. They can happen in rural or urban areas. Frost quakes typically occur under a certain set of winter conditions, Ford said, after a wet, rainy period and when there's little snow, which has an insulating effect on the ground. Frost quakes can occur. I'm not gonna sit up here and act like I knew or ever heard of a frost quake. I'm from the South, New Orleans to be exact. Um, Interesting. I'm glad to hear that it's not dangerous. So it sounds more, like a weather um slang for a phenomenon that might happen that again, loud pops, but small tremors. It might mess with building foundations, but not very likely. So again, I just learned about this. I don't really have a big take on it because again, that's not the region I'm from. I'm a Louisiana guy, so yeah, I don't know much about frost quakes except for what I just researched. Moving on. Japan's lunar landing reaches the moon, but is rapidly losing power, space agency says. Japan's Moon Sniper robotic explorer landed on the lunar surface, but the mission may end prematurely since the spacecraft's solar cell is not generating electricity, the Japanese Aerospace Exploration Agency said. The agency also said it is currently receiving a signal from the lander, which is communicating as expected. The uncrewed smart lander from investigating the moon, or SLIM, I like that. Mission landed just after 10:20 a.m. Eastern Time Friday, and that's 12:20 a.m. Saturday Japan Standard Time. According to telemetry, whoa, telemetry data, shared on JAXA's live broadcast. Currently, the land is operating on limited battery power, only expected to last several hours, and the Jackson team is analyzing the data to determine the cause of the solar cell issue and the next steps for the lander. It's possible that the solar cell issue is due to the fact that the spacecraft is not pointing in the intended direction, JAXA officials said. Currently, the lander is operating on limited battery power. Limited battery power. There is hope that the solar angle changes on the moon. The solar cell may be able to charge again, but that may take some time and will depend on if Slim can survive the frigid lunar night. The team shared during a news conference. The agency believes the mission has met the criteria to declare it a minimum success because the spacecraft did achieve a precise and soft lunar landing using optical navigation. The landing makes Japan the third country to land on the moon this century and the fifth overall. Okay, if you follow the show, which I know is only a couple of you that do at this point, which again, please tell your friend and tell a friend to subscribe if you like the content. Y'all could remember me actually questioning on I think the last show that if the moon landing was even real. I mean, I was kind of still that is a controversial subject that some people still believe to be untrue. Well, Japan landed something on the moon unmanned. That was the thing in this whole thing that jumped out to me. It was an unmanned lunar landing aircraft. So basically a drone with big legs that can get to the moon. With that being said, it's one giant step for man, one small leap for whatever he say, but Japan did landed it. They said Japan is the third country to land on the moon this century and the fifth overall. That's big things. Again, unmanned. They didn't bring any astronauts up there, but they did have a lunar landing on the moon, supposedly, and their aircraft thing, a majig, made it, but it's not charging because it's solar powered, and it made it all the way to the moon. Remember, that's 200 something thousand miles from Earth. Good job, Japan. Good job. Moving on. A 14,000-year-old tusk offers clues about the relationship between early Alaskans and woolly mammoths. Early human settlements in what is now Alaska track closely with the movements of a female woolly mammoth that lived 14,000 years ago. According to a new study, the animal ranged about 620 miles from northwestern Canada to the interior of Alaska during her lifetime. The revelation sheds light on the relationship between the prehistoric giants and some of the first people to make their way across the Barren Lane Bridge, suggesting that humans set up their seasonal hunting camps where woolly mammoths were known to gather. Researchers from the United States and Canada established a connection between the two species thanks to a new tool for isotope analysts in ancient tusks and the map of archaeological sites in Alaska. The tusk belonged to a woolly mammoth later named Emma for short. The species was discovered in '09 at the Swan Point Archaeological Site in central Alaska. And I quote, Emma wandered around the densest region of sites along the Barren Land Bridge of Alaska, Rowe said in a statement. And I quote, it looks like these early people were establishing hunting camps in areas where they were frequent to the mammoth. I don't know how much sense that make for the early humans to set up a camp near the woolly mammoth, but I do know from reading books that we used a lot of the woolly mammoth body stuff as tools and garments. Not only did we eat him, but I know we used a lot of them early on. And again, housing. I just know we done a lot with the woolly mammoth. As I remember, like my little historical classes, mostly like third grade, fourth grade, fifth grade. Like I think they taught us about the woolly mammoth and people who, you know what I'm saying, basically used a lot of the animal, if I'm not mistaken. And the tusk in this story gives us the carbon dating of 14,000 years ago. That's pretty amazing. Up next, we got US news, but I'm gonna take a short break. Just some grape Kool-Aid. I did have 2 shots of vodka though. It's Friday. US news, late night edition. New cancer cases projected to top 2 million, hit record high in 2024. Cancer mortality in the U.S. has fallen over the past 3 decades, but increases in common forms of the disease pose a threat to that progress. The number of new cancer cases in the U.S. is expected to top 2 million for the first time in 2024, based on new research that also points to shifting age patterns amongst cancer patients and a troubling increase in overall cancer incidence amongst people younger than 50. The American Cancer Society latest statistical report released on Wednesday says the country's cancer mortality rate fell by 33% from 91 through 21. That decrease equates to an estimated 4.1 million fewer cancer deaths, which researchers attribute to improvements in disease management and detection, along with reductions in smoking. Yet the research also warns that increases in some common cancers threaten its progress. The report notes the incident rate for female breast cancer, for example, has risen by about 0.6% per year since the mid 2000s. And that's more than 313 new breast cancer cases overall, as projected in 2024. Prostate cancer incident increases by about 3% per year after experiencing a nearly 40% drop from '07 to 14. Projected caseloads by state range from a high of 993,000 in Cali to a new low of 3,300 in Wyoming. U.S. news rate calculations based In 2023, state population figures point to a high of 7.67 new cases per thousand population in Maine and a low of 3.97 in Utah. Um, excuse me. That was a hard one to get through for a couple of reasons. Just go come out and say it. My mom, along with a couple of my family members, died from cancer. So again, I saw that report and I thought about not reporting it, but then I said, you know what? I gotta report it. My mom passed away of breast cancer in 14. Um, get yourself checked regularly. Eat well. Try to eat clean. Um, I don't know. It's a million different ways you could get that disease. So, I mean, obviously, it's one of the leading causes of death in America. So, it's not much we can do or say. But hearing that those numbers are projected to hit record highs currently this year is saddening. And I can't help but to think about our food supply and our food chain. Um, our way of life. And when I say our, I mean all of us as humans. I don't believe that disease kills one race more than it kills the other based on race, but I could be wrong. I hear certain cancers do kill certain races different, but again, I'm not a racist, so I'm not going to put race as a increasing or decreasing factor of a cancer. That's just not something that I'm wired to do. But I do mourn the passing of all people who have passed away with cancer, along with my family, friends, and associates. And I don't know. That's I got a lot. I got a lot of people that's dealing with cancer in one form or another. And again, that story kind of hit home. Moving on. Americans in year with a splurge, pushing retail sales up by 0.6%. Consumers are seeing fatter paydays and plentiful jobs. Americans continue to spend heavy as 2023 came to an end. Driving retail sales higher by 6% in December, fueled by online purchases and spending at bars and restaurants. The Census Bureau reported on Wednesday. Economists had forecast an increase of 0.4% after November's 0.3% gain. So, excuse me. So it was up another 0.2 higher than what they okay. For all of 2023, sales were up 3.2%. Excluding auto sales and gasoline that tend to be volatile month to month, sales rose by 0.6% as well, compared to forecasts of a only 0.2 increase. Consumer spending accounts for 2/3 of the U.S. economy and defied expectations at the beginning of last year. After avoiding a recession, the economy is forecast to have growth at a 2.6% rate last year, but economists expect that to slow this year. A strong labor market and robust wage growth allowed customers to take on more credit and use buy now, pay later programs to maintain their spending. Outstanding credit card spending debt surpassed 1 trillion in the third quarter. Although debt to income values were below 10% and modest compared to the early 2000s. Still, the spending spree on goods ignited by the COVID-19 pandemic has embedded the customers are now spending on services and experiences like travel and attending sports events and concerts, all up with record numbers. As a result, some categories are seeing heavy discounts, such as electronics, while incentives are back in fashion at auto dealer lots. A new survey of executives at mid-market retail and consumer packaging goods companies by investment bank Karl Marx advisors found that nearly 90% expect their sales to remain the same or increase in 2024. America, y'all spend a lot. We spend a lot. We love to spend. But the four-letter S word that we need to love and I myself need to love is save. I say we not only need to save more because we are at a future that is uncertain with possibilities of not only world wars, but contaminations by biochemical warfare. I'm sorry. That's what COVID will always be to me. Biochemical warfare. I'm sorry. But yes, let's save more in 2024. That was a good article to read that we as Americans are seeing that we're spending more and we're helping the economy that way. And that is a way to help the economy. But making wise decisions and saving more is another way to help the economy, as you can then buy that purchase instead of putting it on them credit cards, which I am also guilty of. Credit card debt, like they said, was in the trillions. Let's save more in 2024. That's what I'm screaming. Moving on. Ford is cutting back F-150 Lightning electric truck production. Yes, I did say it. Ford will shut down one of two production shifts in April at the Dearborn, Michigan factory that builds the F-150 Lightning electric pickup. The move is part of matching F-150 Lightning production to consumer demand. The company said Friday. General Motors recently made a similar announcement about its Chevy Silverado EV, announcing it will postpone adding production facilities for the truck, which went into production last spring for corporate customers. While sales of electric vehicles increased in 2023, the growth was slower than many industry experts had expected. Ford still projects an increase in Lightning sales this year after a 55% jump to 24,000 trucks last year. The company did not say how many F-150 Lightnings is expected to sell this year. The 24,000 in Lightning sales is still a small fraction of overall Ford F1 Series pickup sales. The F Series is Ford's best-selling product line and has been the best-selling vehicle of any kind in the United States for almost 50 years. Last year, Ford sold more than 750,000 F Series trucks. The price of a Lightning starts at about $50K and is eligible for a $7,500 federal EV tax credit. Even with the tax credit, the price remains higher than the $34K base price of the gas-powered truck. I gotta say, I do own an F-150, proud owner. My F-150 is a good truck. I'm not looking to go mudding, so I don't really need too much in a truck. I'm not looking to haul 3 RVs, so I don't need much in the truck. What I need in a truck is for it to start, run, and run well as I get from A to B, and possibly if I have to go and pick up a mattress, can I make it home? Because that bed is strictly for me doing little odds and ends and to ride a big truck. Yep, I'm just an American, just like you. I got a car, but I like to just ride a big truck every now and then. I love my F-150. I don't know. Maybe this city boy from New Orleans, a little country. Who knows? Up next, hip hop and entertainment news. We'll take a quick break. Be right back. Give me 1 minute. All right, I'm back. Sorry about that. I actually went and got my dog and blew my nose. I'm still dealing with this sinus infection shit. But hey, the show must go on. Just like the lack of a shave, because my barber kind of MIA'd me today. But no, we'll get a shave tomorrow. Moving on with the podcast. This is That's My Take. Hip hop and entertainment news. Alec Baldwin indicted again in Rush shooting. Actor Alec Baldwin has been indicted by a New Mexico grand jury on charges connected to the 2021 fatal shooting on the set of the movie Rust, new court documents show. Baldwin is charged with 2 counts of involuntary manslaughter. The first involuntary manslaughter charge against Baldwin is described in court documents as negligent use of a firearm, and the second is involuntary manslaughter without due caution or circumspection, which is detailed as an act committed with the total disregard or indifferent to the safety of others. And I quote, "We look forward to our day in court." That's Alec Baldwin's attorneys, Luke Nikas and Alex Shapiro. Baldwin's attorney has previously insisted his client is not guilty. Involuntary manslaughter charges were dropped against Baldwin last year, with prosecutors saying in the same statement at the time that they could not proceed under the current time constraints on the facts and evidence turned over by law enforcement in its existing form due to new facts in the case. All right. Well, I don't know if y'all remember or even slightly remember, but Alec Baldwin was on the set of a movie. A prop gun, some kind of way, had real live lead bullets. He had the gun. He was on set of a Western, so he's in character. He shoots the gun, thinking it's a prop gun. A lady passes away. Another lady is hurt. Um, Sad situation. You got people on one side saying it's his fault. You got people on the other side saying it's the prop gun people fault. And in the middle, again, you got a person that's not no longer with us. So it's a tough one for me. I just know if they bringing up the charges again, they must have new evidence, and that new evidence might find him guilty. I don't know. Might not. He's got strong lawyers and great money. All that helps. For real, it does. Moving on. Snoop Dogg's daughter hospitalized after suffering severe stroke. Snoop Dogg's daughter, Corey Broadus, has been hospitalized after suffering what she described as a severe stroke. The 24-year-old shared the news to her Instagram stories using a photo of her hospital room. She followed up with another post that read, "Like I'm only 24. What did I do in the past to deserve all this?" She also admits she started breaking down crying when the doctors explained to her what happened. Snoop Dogg's daughter hospitalized. That just don't even sound real. Like, and she's 24. So again, stay up on your health. We know things happen. Um I can't stress it enough as I'm right now again dealing with a head cold and sinuses and sinus pressure and all this crap. Health is wealth. We can have it all. Like, she was basically saying, what did she do to deserve this in a past life? We must make sure that our health is top priority, and that's all of us, me included. Of course, we happy she recovered. What up, Dave? My partner David Perry in the comments. Thank you, baby. Um, my baby in the comments as well. Um, She didn't do nothing to deserve this. Again, strokes for younger people will only happen most cases if it's hereditary. So maybe somebody in her family had that type of gene, and that's how it happened. Because a 24-year-old is usually relatively healthy. And again, we're happy to hear that she bounced back and she's good. Definitely love to hear good endings. Moving on. Young Thug and YSL trial. State motions to block RICO cases live stream. The state motions to block the RICO cases live stream. Sorry, I didn't read that great. Given how prosecutors have interpreted public and spectator interference in these proceedings, they want to lessen the risk of harm. The RICO trial for Young Thug and the rest of YSL might change in a big way soon, at least for us spectators. Moreover, the state just filed a motion to block the live stream of court proceedings, and their reasonings is quite interesting. Specifically, they name, and I quote, limitations on the media's ability to video record testifying witnesses during the pendency of the trial of the case. End quote. In addition, they referenced the December 5th, 2023 incident in which menacing words and commentary appeared in the live chat for the broadcast. Furthermore, prosecutors in the Young Thug YSL RICO trial want to consider a substantial likelihood of harm arising from one or more of the identified factors, whether that harm outweighs the benefits of recording to the public, and whether the court has considered more narrow restrictions on recording than a complete denial of the media's request. End quote. However, they also had specific requests. These include that the courtroom shall only allow audio devices for the media's recording and no visual recording of the witnesses at all. Also, they want the court to ban the media from identifying victim and witness testifiers' full names until they complete said testimony. They trying to black it out, y'all. Like they trying to be like y'all lucky if y'all get to hear this trial. A lot them been going on, just like they said, when somebody kind of hacked in and played the music and somebody else hacked in and typed some, computer keyboard tough stuff. Like a lot of stuff happening in this case. When they accidentally showed one of the witnesses, there's a lot going on, and they might take the visuals away. I mean, I'm free Young Thug. I mean, I don't act like I know the intricacies of this whole case. I mean, I do know that I don't really look at nobody on earth that I want to be incarcerated. So it's free this one, it's free that one. I want everybody free. Not everybody, but everybody that should be free. Now, I'll let a judge and jury determine if he should be free, but I will say free Thug again because I don't want to see anybody locked up. Up next is sports. The Raiders working to finalize a deal to hire Antonio Pierce. The Las Vegas Raiders are working to finalize a deal to hire Antonio Pierce as their head coach, sources told ESPN Adam Shefty on Friday. Raiders owner Mark Davis hiring Pierce from linebackers coach to interim coach to now head coach following the Halloween night firings of Coach Jocks McDaniels and general manager Dave Ziegler. Pierce, along with interim GM Champ Kelly, changed the culture of the Raiders locker room overnight following the Raiders season-ending 27-14 victory over the Broncos. Davis told ESPN he was really excited about the job Pierce did in leading the team to a 5-4 finish after he took over. Besides finishing with a winning record, the Raiders also went 3-1 in the AFC West under Pierce. scoring a franchise record 63 points against the Los Angeles Chargers and beating the Kansas City Chiefs at Arrowhead Stadium for only the second time since 13. When Davis first promoted Pierce, who had never been a head coach above the high school level, Davis told ESPN he did not want Pierce to necessarily coach so much as lead and delegate. The Raiders played a cleaner and more focused game after Pierce took over. Consider, under Pierce, the Raiders led the NFL in fewest points allowed per game, which was 16, defensive touchdowns, which was 4, the fewest penalties, which was 31, while having the 10th most takeaways, which was 14, being fourth in point differential, 62, and tying for the third most in sacks, 30, from week 9 through the end of the season. David also said at the time, understanding the culture of the Raiders, and you know what? That's important to me. Growing up in Compton, outside of Los Angeles, a huge fan of not only the Raiders when they called LA home, but also local rap group NWA, which was known for wearing Raiders gear, immediately changed the culture to a player's first atmosphere. A mini basketball hoop was immediately installed in the locker room, and the music playlist for practice was changed to include the stylings of NWA, whose radio friendly versions of songs were played in Alliant Stadium during pregame warm-ups. I like that. While the Friday team dance-off to kick off practice returned. And after home victories, the Raiders lit celebratory cigars in the locker room. Pierce also benched high-priced but often injured veteran quarterback Jimmy G in favor of rookie Aidan O'Connor, with Pierce calling the youngster his BFF on more than one occasion. I am thrilled to hear this story. Not only because I am a Raiders fan, if you know me, Saints, Raiders, Ravens. Those my teams. So again, to hear this, ecstatic. I know Anthony Pierce from the Giants. I know he from Compton. I know this dude is like a real one. And that's what the Raiders been missing. I don't care what nobody say. When you get a real one, everybody go follow. If the training, talent, commitment, determination there, you're going to play better because you're going to want to play for a real one. Coach Pierce is a real one. Congratulations, Coach. Moving on. Go Raiders. Win, just win, baby. Moving on. The Detroit Lions have had a miserable history in the playoffs, but these aren't your dad's Lions, and it's showing in the betting markets, according to ESPN stats and information. Since November legalized sports betting in 1949, Detroit's consensus 6.5 favorite status on Sunday's game against Tampa Bay is its largest ever in the playoffs. It surpasses the Lions as a 4-point favorite against the Dallas Cowboys in the 1970 divisional round, a game Detroit would lose 5-0. Although they 6.5-point favorite road trails Baltimore and San Francisco, each given 9.5 points in their divisional round matchups, it's been a long time coming for the Lions. And I quote, they haven't been favorites in the playoffs for sure, but they haven't been in the playoffs that much. DraftKings director of race and sports operations Johnny Avello told ESPN. The teams has just not had many opportunities. This is the first time in franchise history that they have won multiple playoff games. They are one of 4 NFL franchises to never appear in a Super Bowl. Along with fellow divisional round contender Houston, eliminated Cleveland and Jacksonville, which missed the postseason after a 1-5 finish. Jacksonville, y'all laid an egg. At BetMGM, the Lions, favored by 6.5, has attracted 63% of the bets and 71% of the handle. With the money line, a good minus 275, bringing in 47% of the bets and 73% of the handle. At the points bet, Detroit is taking 81% of the money line handle, which the sports book notes is by far the most of any team this weekend. The action pushed the line a half point from the consensus opening of -6. Great story for the Detroit Lions. I'm not the biggest Lion fan. No, I'm a fan of the story. Obviously, Barry Sanders, um, Megatron. They got a couple other players I could call, but I'm trying to think of them, but I can't. But my point is, it's a good story. Like they said, they never appeared in the Super Bowl. They only made a couple playoffs. They like the Saints' little cousins. Fuck. Maybe they'll win a Super Bowl. I mean, we got us one. We appeared in one and we won that motherfucker. I'm happy for the Lions. I mean, who I like on that side? Frisco, yeah. I mean, shit. If they do what they're supposed to do, hey, it is what it is. And speaking of the matchups, the NFL matchups, you got Houston at my Ravens. You got Green Bay at Frisco. That's what I'm saying. If Frisco and the Lions meet, I'm gonna go Frisco. And you got Tampa Bay at them Detroit Lions, and you got Kansas City playing Buffalo. All should be great games with a few upsets. Bet wisely. I honestly don't plan to bet. I've been on a hiatus from actually been on a hiatus from playing poker and gambling so I could kind of lay back a little bit because at one point I felt like I was gambling every second. So life is a gamble, but I can't gamble my life away if you get me. And with that being said, again, I took a hiatus. I will be back to gambling because that's what I like to do. So in the AFC, in the NFC championship game, I'm definitely going to throw a little money around. Moving on. Sports Illustrated announces mass layoffs, leaving the magazine's future in doubt. The publisher of Sports Illustrated is reportedly laying off most, maybe all, of the outfit's staff. The move, accompanied by a revoking publishing license, could signify the end of what was once the most iconic brand in sports journalism. The news was reported by AJ Perez of Front Office Sports, who indicated that the mass layoff would include Sports Illustrated's entire staff. It comes less than a day after the Arena Group Sports Illustrated's publisher announced plans for, and I quote, a significant reduction in its workforce, end quote. Sports Illustrated Media Group consists of the Longtime Magazine, SI Swimsuit, The Spun, and other publications. Arena also finance and lifestyle media groups The Street and Parade. It said that there are more than 100 employees will lose their jobs as the company attempts to manage substantial debt. In 2019, Sports Illustrated was sold to Authentic Brands Group, which subsequently sold its publishing rights to Arena. Arena recently missed a $3.75 million payment that broke the company's license deal, prompting Authentic to revoke the publishing license per FOS. The report goes on to say that some employees were given 90 days notice and there remains a possibility that the licensing deal will be resolved during that time. Sports Illustrated Union expressed commitment to fighting for the magazine and its staff in a statement released on Friday. Magazines, if they're not dead, they've been putting a lot of dirt on top of magazines for years. Sports Illustrated, you should have been veered off and made your online presence great. No one's fault but your fucking own. Let's just keep it real. Let's go with your woke shit. You put a alternative lifestyle person on your cover, and it was a swimsuit issue. I think when men go to the Sports Illustrated swimsuit issue, they're looking for naturally born women. I'm sorry, maybe I'm old fashioned, but I think that hurt y'all as well. Keeping it real, being woke sometime could woke your ass up out of here. You can sleep woke. Because now look at you. Laying off staff. You just missed a $3.75 million payment. You know why you didn't have it? because nobody buys magazines. You should have been pivoted. Sports Illustrated, I don't blame nobody but your fucking self. I really don't. And now to one of my favorite segments. I can't make this shit up. Now, before I go into this segment, I will not be explaining this segment again. As for now, I feel like I do have 120, I think, subscribers. So most of you kind of know about I can't make this shit up. So again, this will be my last time explaining it. I can't make this shit up. It's really true stories that I find and I double check to make sure that they factual, actual, and then I report them to you. Yes, the story that I'm about to read to you is 100% real. I can't make this shit up. Man's gross prank goes horribly wrong after his pants catch on fire. A Chinese man attempt to light his fart literally backfired after he accidentally set his pants ablaze, as seen as a viral footage igniting the internet. A video obtained by Southwest News Service shows Ben Tuzi of Jinlin province lying on his bed as he prepares to, well, add fuel to the fire. Heeding Ben's instruction, a friend and enabler who wishes to remain anonymous raises a lighter to his buddy's ass. He ignites it right as the prankster lets one rip, creating a massive fireball that sets Ben's pants on fire like a failed gender reveal party in his pants. The clip ends with a gassy guy rolling around on bed in a panic as he pats his blazing bottom in an attempt to get out of the hot seat. Depending on the quality of fiber consumed, hydrogen contains of flagellants can vary between 8% and 63%. And I quote, hydrogen, methane, and carbon dioxide together make up 75% of a typical fire. As the gases mix with the oxygen in the air, they form a flammable cocktail. However, experts advise against trying to replicate this to yourself, as your ass may turn into a fireworks display. And I cannot make this shit up. Somebody really set their own ass on fire with their fought. This shit's wild, but true. In closing, my last segment, I like to always leave y'all with a little something of value. As I am a history buff, I like to leave you with something from this day in history. Sometimes I pick out several days in history. Tonight I picked out one. When I do pick out one, it's usually for a reason. So let's begin. It rhymed. I know it's begin, but it rhymed. Let there be light. January 19th, 1883. The place, Roswell, New Jersey, earns its place in tech history when the first electric lighting system employing overhead wires goes into service. The system was built by you know who, Thomas Edison himself, part of an experiment to prove that an entire community could be lit by electricity from a shared central generating station. A steam driven generator set the juice through the wires strung overhead to a store, the town's railway depot, 40 or so houses, and 150 streetlights. The First Presbyterian Church of Roswell made electrical and ecclesiastical history 3 months later when it installed a 30 bulb electrolier to become the world's first church to be lit by electricity. The electric chandelier still hangs in the church. Edison, one of the most prolific inventors of all time, was known as the Wizard of Menlo Park. That predicates apparently the age of visionaries, geniuses, and gurus. Among Edison's 1,093 U.S. patents, or the incandescent light bulb, the phonograph, the stock ticker, and an early film projector. Whether Edison was the actual inventor of everything he patented remains debatable, as in doubt. In fact, doubtful. But there's no denying that the man knew what he was doing. Period. Yeah, he knew what he was doing when he stole a couple inventions. And I'm gonna just leave that as there. We about to wrap up this show. I don't want to put dirt on Mr. Edison's name. Do want to thank y'all for coming. In closing, I do want to say that I hope I added a little value. Yes, I was intoxicated this entire show. 2 shots of vodka, well, not vodka, tequila. 2 shots of tequila after dinner. Dinner was actually superb too, but after dinner, 2 shots of tequila. Hey, we got through the show, and thank you for coming. As always, I'm gonna leave y'all with a little music. This song right here is called "Follow the Procedure," or was it just called "Procedure"? Yeah, I think it was just called "Procedure." Sorry. I picked this song because shit, I love it. But I think it's a good like ending song. You know what I'm saying? It just go fit to me. It just feel like a song that you play, at the end of the show. So again, without further ado, Procedure.
Follow the procedure. Follow the procedure. Follow the procedure. Yeah. Loyalty is everything. I'm a true believer. Never go against the film or bite the hand that feeds. Don't forget the code. You should never catch amnesia. I always play it safe and always follow the procedure. Loyalty is everything. I'm a true believer. Never go against the film or bite the hand that feeds. Don't forget the code. You should never catch amnesia. I always play it safe and always follow the procedure.
These niggas ain't real. I turn on you quick. These niggas ain't shit. Live by the code. Got jam, never told. I'ma die real nigga. Ain't no telling what I sold. Bury me a fam G. Haters can't stand me. Fuck 'em. No, did it all for his family. Yeah. They know they fake, so they can't relate. Never eat a steak off another plate. No. Ain't my cup of lean. Nah. Never on my team, not in they fucking dreams. Never. Loyal to a fault, to my last breath. South part of last real nigga left.
Loyalty is everything. I'm a true believer. Never go against the film or bite the hand that feeds. Don't forget the code. You should never catch amnesia. I always play it safe and always follow the procedure. Loyalty is everything. I'm a true believer. Never go against the film or bite the hand that feeds. Don't forget